So, the daddy-o of family purity died.
Right. Has
croaked, kicked the bucket.
That's right. That's right. And you know what's so weird about that? First of all, hello, audience.
Hi.
We are going to be talking about Dr. James Dobson today.
Indeed.
Okay, so he died. He died just this past week, a couple days ago, August 21st.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, was that just yesterday?
That was yesterday.
It was just yesterday. Wow.
At the ripe old age of 89.
Yeah. So apparently, and he died in his home, but the cause of his death wasn't really announced. There wasn't anything publicly stated. And then I looked on Facebook trying to find something, and his Family Talk Facebook page. So after James Dobson left Focus on the Family,
Yes,
he started Family Talk with James Dobson.
yes.
All right. So his Facebook page just said he died following a brief illness.
COVID.
Okay.
He didn't get his vaccine.
That's exactly what I thought. That is exactly where my brain went. I'm like, I would love to look up if he was anti-vax.
Well, you know he was. Yes.
Well, what, you think so? I mean, we should do our research. Britt, we should do our research. Was James Dobson anti-vax? Google always knows. It says it's inaccurate to label James Dobson as simply anti-vax in the blanket sense of opposing all vaccines.
Right. Okay. Was he anti-COVID vax?
Okay.
Was he anti, they're going to put magnets and weird, intelligence receptors into my bloodstream vax? Anti, they're going to turn me into a reptilian vax.
Oh, well, that's hard to say. There's not anything that says explicitly if he was anti-COVID vax.
Was he a Trump supporter?
But it suggests.
Do we know?
Oh yeah, he was definitely religious right. Yeah, yes. Trump support. Yes. It says one search result suggested a connection between Focus on the Family and anti-vax COVID sentiments. So possible, but that could have been by one of his, groupies. I don't know. But it would be, Dobson may have distrusted mask mandates and COVID-19 vaccines. Again,
yes,
this is all hearsay, but
of course. I mean, typical stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We don't trust the mask mandate. We don't trust the vaccines. But anyway, regardless, we don't know what he died of. May or may not have been the COVID. The COVID.
The COVID. Okay.
So my partner, this is what I love about him. He had no idea who James Dobson was. He does not know. And
that's beautiful.
I know. This is why I love the man.
He must have grown up with a decent childhood.
Yes, he did. He was like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Please Google." He did a dive as well and was like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not as bad as Jerry Falwell, but right damn up there. Yes. Right damn up there.
Yeah.
When I was doing my deep dive, I found some great Facebook pages that addressed James Dobson's death and his legacy. And I'd kind of like to read some of these quotes that I found. Is that cool?
Yes, please.
All right. So a woman by the name of, and I am not endorsing any of these pages, by the way. These are just quotes that I found, and I'm like, yeah, that rings true. So I don't know what these people stand for in their entirety. So please hear that. I just like the message that they wrote about James Dobson. So a woman by the name of Sheila Ray Gregor, has some like counseling ministry called Bare Marriage. And she wrote, James Dobson has died. And now there will be much talk about his legacy, and many big media will praise him. I hope they leave room for the people so terribly hurt by his ministry. Mm-hmm. Kids who were spanked repeatedly with a paddle. Kids who were told their will had to be broken. Women who were told they shouldn't have a voice in their marriage. He said he focused on the family, but he really only focused on his version of the family, which had the father in charge and in control of the rest. He should have focused on Jesus. Now he is, and now he'll know what his legacy wrought. What's your legacy with Dobson? That was her post.
Wow.
Yeah. And then here's another one by a guy who calls himself just Pastor Brandon. He runs a ministry out of Arizona. He posted, today we learned that Dr. James Dobson, the founder of Focus on the Family, has passed away. For me, this one hits differently. I grew up with Dobson's voice in the background of my childhood. Ooh, boy. So did you and I, didn't we, Britt?
Yep.
Countless car rides with Focus on the Family on the radio on the way to church. His voice was as steady as the hum of the highway. In Baptist circles, he was considered royalty. Well, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
He was an icon. And when an icon dies, grief is complicated. For me, it's not unlike when Michael Jackson passed away. You can't deny the impact of the icon, but you also can't ignore the flaws that hurt others. As I grow older, I think more about legacy. Legacies can be immensely forgiving or terrifyingly unforgiving. Legacies tell the truth, even when sentimentality begs them not to. And like Michael Jackson, Dobson's legacy is complicated. In different ways, of course. On the one hand, Dobson built a massive platform for Christian families. On the other, that platform often lost the plot, and still does.
Yeah.
What began as family-centered ministry drifted into something harder, less about grace, more about rules.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Less about forgiveness, more about condemnation. Less about following Jesus humbly, more about imposing a political agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh. So.
Man, that last one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Really, oh God, just lost grace. And, that message of okay, let's just back up for a minute and talk about who Dobson was. Okay. Right. So he was this man who focused on the family, right? He was teaching parents how to raise and parent their children, essentially.
Right. So he's
one man and one woman.
Right. A child psychologist. That started this ministry, Focus on the Family, and built it into an empire.
Yes.
And I think it was season 1, wasn't it, where my friend Ray and I went on site to Focus on the Family. And we were like, are these like little robot children? What's going on here?
And we're being followed around by the staff.
Yes, we were. They were like, these people don't fit in.
It's the suspicious vacuuming right next to you.
Right next to us. We were being tracked by the campus police.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, God, they had eyes on us the entire time.
Didn't he have a gun?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The guy on the campus... Well, sure. They probably thought, there are people that are like total nut jobs that might go and try to blow the shit up. So I can understand them being suspicious.
But you're being followed around by a guy with a gun.
I know.
And just sitting there in the bookstore trying to have a conversation and looking through the Bibles, and suddenly they needed to do vacuuming right next to you to make sure, hear what you were saying.
We bought some great souvenirs from the Focus on the Family gift store.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's amazing. So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't heard it. That's great.
Oh, that was a fun one.
Oh, crazy. So anyway, so this is why I have strong resentment towards the man, because he was a child psychologist, and I highly value psychology.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Psychology is valuable, right? And he took it and he twisted it.
Yes.
In religion. He profaned it. I mean, just what he did to profane psychology with religion and to combine the two in this very distorted way. Write these books about. So I don't know if you remember, but The Strong-Willed Child. Do you remember that book? So
yes,
he wrote this book called The Strong. Yes. Okay.
And I read Bringing Up Boys.
Bringing Up Boys. Yes. And Growing Kids God's Way was different people, but similar.
Dare to Discipline. That was his first big book, published in 1970.
It wasn't Dare to Train. It's not like we're training up children, right? No. It is, you are disciplining, right? You are sparing the rod. You're going to spoil the child kind of discipline, right?
No, so it was pro... It was pro-corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment.
With an object.
Yes. So in his book.
A paddle or a spoon or,
In his book, The Strong-Willed Child. So we had a child who was later diagnosed as autistic. Okay. Who would have these long, just emotional cries and fits and temper tantrums that would go on for a long time, right?
Yes.
In the church, he was labeled a strong-willed child.
Right.
And you are going to discipline and break that child's will.
Yes.
Right? Which
and
later
that's what his
became
book said. It
abuse.
Said they need their will broken.
Do you remember the foreword of that book? In the foreword of that book, he talks about his dog, Sigmund Freud, who was a dachshund. Okay, so his dachshund dog, this little 12-pound dog, Sigmund Freud, and how his dog refused to get into his crate one night. And so he was going to break that dog's will, and he was going to force that dog to get into his crate. And what did he do? He went into his closet and he got a belt and he beat that dog up one side and down the other. And he beat that dog and had that dog submitted by the end of the night to him and got in his crate. That is what he was suggesting that these parents do to their children.
To their strong-willed child.
To their strong-willed child in order to submit. Now forward... years down the road was exactly what my husband ended up doing to our son.
And my husband to our son.
Which is, was condoned, right?
Yes.
But absolute abuse. Right?
Yeah.
So I absolutely resent the man because in the name of religion, and him, somebody like Dobson saying, this is okay, that, and not only okay, it is God ordained. God requires you to do this to your child in order to break them and get them to submit to your will.
Right. Well, and Dobson's, other rhetoric about marriage and the male being the head of the household and wives submitting is why I felt like I had to stand back and allow my husband to beat
a wife can't say anything about it.
No.
You have to be quiet because you have no say. You also have to submit to your husband.
Right.
You don't have a voice in that equation.
No.
You have to stand back while your husband beats your child up one side and down the other to get them to submit.
Right.
It's terrible. So,
and
to
now
our listening audience, if anybody is going through that, that is abuse. Absolute abuse.
Yep.
Right.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I was going to say my poor child now has, decades worth of trauma to unpack. So, I mean, it's...
Right.
Yeah. Strong-willed child, he was. And it would have done him great in adulthood. Strong-willed children, they grow up, they have a strong sense of self.
Passions.
Yes. They question authority instead of just blindly, submitting to things. They're like, let's use some critical thinking skills. It shows up as strong will in a child. It shows up as leadership in adulthood.
That is right.
And
you know what?
We're beating that out of them.
And a parent who has strong confidence and is an emotionally mature person is not threatened by that. Right?
Right.
You and I had partners who had very fragile egos, who could not handle a child who challenged them.
Right.
Instead
of being curious about that child.
Right.
Instead of just being curious and be like, hey, what's the struggle here? What, are you feeling this? Helping him name his emotions and get to the heart of the struggle, viewing the bad behavior as the child struggling with something instead of, just blatant disobedience to be disobedient.
Well, my ex had labeled my son as selfish. He was self-centered.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He was very selfish. Well, he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
Right.
These kids are...
They are in their own world.
Kind of self-focused, right?
Yeah.
He's one-track mind on his passion and his, okay... So, he was
from the way they are wired. Yes.
And that self-centeredness was a sin that was going to get beat out of him. Right? If you have these sins in you, you're going to hell. So we're going to beat these out of you.
Right.
For
Instead
God.
of teaching the child coping mechanisms and how to use that intense focus on in positive, constructive ways, let's just beat it out of them. Let's just beat it out of them.
Well, I think he tried to do some of that as well, but when that didn't work, when
the beating,
when he would, reach a certain point where you are not submitting, or if that's not working, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
The rod will not be spared, unfortunately. And so, I do not feel bad that this guy is gone. Good riddance, although he has left. I mean, you saw his compound. Even though he left focus on the family, he's got all of these people that have come after him.
He still had his radio shows, and he's still, he still had his hand in focus on the family. He just passed the torch.
And the torch has been passed to all of these people who now are doing they're still the same people who are leading Project 2025 and doing all the things. I mean, they all believe the same stuff.
Well, Brittany, you're not alone in your lack of grief over James Dobson's passing. Earlier today, as I went down the rabbit hole in research, I stumbled across the podcast. What's it called? I Hate James Dobson. The Hate James Dobson podcast.
There's an I Hate James Dobson podcast.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, yes.
And guess what? The the guy who's like the host of the podcast is a therapist. He's a therapist that grew up in a super conservative evangelical household and suffered a shit ton of religious trauma at the hands of his parents who were following James Dobson's recipe of abuse. So
poor guy.
Yeah.
So he was really, did he have something to say about him dying?
Yeah, a lot of ding dong, the Dobson's dead. You know, he was.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He seemed to be pretty thrilled. I mean, now they have totally turned their back on Christianity. It sounded like 100%. I am not in that place. You know, still love me some Jesus, not fond of these, you know, trolls that try to use Jesus's words to manipulate other people. But yeah, they had some really hateful things to say, and they were very celebratory, and it actually was pretty hilarious. But yeah, not fans.
Yeah, so they weren't too sad that he was gone.
No, not at all. In fact, there's another podcast out there. I think it's called Strong Willed, and they're not just anti-Dobson. I mean, they are anti-Dobson, but they don't just focus, you know, expressly on their hate for James Dobson like the I Hate James Dobson podcast.
That's hilarious.
I know.
Well, I mean, the research so clear. I mean, but you know, these people don't believe in science, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
But you know, so clearly shows that corporal punishment and their you know beliefs about you know training how you dare to discipline and all this kind of stuff is not good for children.
Right. Go figure. Huh.
Go figure.
Wonder why all of us are emotionally stunted and finally just figuring out how to unpack that in our 40s, 50s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And why most of them are emotional toddlers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like, oh, maybe our president.
Yeah.
And
yeah, maybe
all of his little MAGA cronies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you were brought up that way.
He preached a lot of anti-gay rhetoric, a lot of anti-LGBTQ. He had his, Love Won Out, like conference series that's very like ex-gay. It's like conversion therapy stuff. Yeah. So, right. And we know now, I mean, all the research, scientific research, has shown how damaging that is. And it is.
It doesn't.
It's illegal to practice conversion therapy.
Well, right now it is, but I'm sure they'll probably nix that.
Oh, no. All of that's turning
I'm sure
around.
That'll go around.
Under our current presidency. Yay. There was, on the I Hate James Dobson podcast, they were talking about, and I hadn't heard this, but they played a soundbite of James Dobson. So, direct quote here. James Dobson said, "Bisexual? That's orgies." He was claiming that bisexuality means you participate in orgies. Oh my God.
Oh my God. And this guy was probably not in his 80s when he said this. He probably was like, just so ignorant.
I'm sure it was like 20 years ago or more.
So ignorant about anything that had to do with sex.
Yeah, because he'd only had sex with one woman, I'm sure, and she had to submit.
Oh my God, can you imagine that poor woman's life?
I don't want to spare my rod and spoil my wife. I'm gonna slip her my rod. Yeah.
Ew.
You just need to lay there quietly, hun. Isn't that fun?
Oh, poor thing. I mean, she had a choice, but ew, gross. Ugh.
Well, yeah. But, or did she? Or was she under coercive control? And
I mean, she might have been, but come on.
But, yeah. And anyway, yeah. So Dobson, with the anti-LGBTQ and the Love One Out, where he actually promoted incentivizing harmful, traumatizing interventions to,
like what?
Well, just, God damn it. Can I just write a note and not have you try to unpack it? I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't attend.
Forget what? I thought out. Okay, never mind. You're right. Harmful. I'm the worst.
You are. I don't fucking know. But yeah, I read Bringing Up Boys. I never read Dare to Discipline. I did read Bringing Up Boys because I had 2 little boys.
Yes.
And yeah, okay. Not everything the man said was bad. Just like all humans. Not everything Trump says is bad. It's stupid. But it's not necessarily inherently bad. And yes. Dobson, he was a child psychologist. He had some good things to say. It was just the nuggets of untruth that did so much damage. And that, just like the MAGA people, that they cling to their one little chunk of information and they distort it and blow it out of proportion, and that's what Dobson did with these things and what his followers did with the things that he said. I mean, he did say discipline the child, corporal punishment, but he was like, there should be grace and, a nurturing and loving component. And of course, the sycophants that followed that were like, I'll learn the nurturing component later. Let me just beat my child first and see if the nurturing comes naturally later down the road. So, he wasn't 100% evil. I think he did some positive things, but
I think he was deceived.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, he was deceived or just, it was his own upbringing. I'm sure he was raised in a very religious home and that was what he believed and growing up. And that's what he was taught. And so he just perpetuated that and taught it himself. And sure. But he did some real danger.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. So apparently there was
damage.
This time.
Damage. Yeah. He did some real damage.
Dangerous damage.
Yeah.
Time Magazine article entitled 2 Mommies is One Too Many. Yeah.
What?
So Dobson argued that same-sex couples cannot be suitable parents. They can't raise a child in a suitable manner.
Right.
And then he cherry-picked some research and twisted it, to try to back up his points about that.
I mean, always scripture. Not of science. Scripture.
Right. Mm-hmm. And cherry-picking that as well, not the overarching theme of the Bible, which is God is love. He loves us when we're sinful. He loves us regardless. That God wants to embrace us and wants a relationship with us. Not that. No. Cherry picking this is how we prove that we love God, by beating the will out of our children and making sure that they don't grow up homosexual and, all the other super harmful anti-self, anti-self-love statements,
Well, no,
shaming
there was
people and
no, because and this is again getting back to that like woke agenda thing. Yeah. It's saying, well, God is love and Jesus is love and everything. That's woke, right?
Yeah.
God
right.
Sadly, God is woke. A jealous God, and God would punish.
His wrath is
would fall,
raining down his wrath.
Yes, God is not afraid of genocide. God will wipe out entire populations if they were sinful. I mean, God loved toughly. Love must be tough, Dobson said with his book or whatever. God dared to discipline, Kristen,
he did.
Because he loved us. He loved us too much. And so he disciplined us.
But there is a difference between discipline and punishment.
Oh, and punishment.
Right. And when he says discipline, he means punishment instead of...
but sometimes that means punishment. Discipline sometimes means punishment. It was what he says. Love must be tough sometimes, which means love sometimes means you need to be punished.
Yeah.
There needs to be consequences.
Well...
A good parent. And in his book, he would talk about...
a lot of kids. There were a lot of fucking consequences.
A good parent, spoil the rod, spare the child, right?
Right.
No, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Oh, a good... Okay, wrong.
Right, wrong. A good parent will punish their child. Will give their child consequences. Right? It's not just... willy-nilly, rewards all the time, anything goes, just because I love you, right? Sometimes you have to punish that child. If they've done something wrong, they get punished.
Well, there should be consequences.
Consequences and punishment.
Right. But no, like I'm talking for real. There should be consequences. I mean, children should have some consequences.
Some tough love sometimes.
Yes, right. So they don't completely go off the rails. They need boundaries, right? Okay?
Sure.
But consequences doesn't have to mean punishment. Right? I mean, it can mean training and healthy redirection and,
You and I know that. But that's the line he walked, is that he would say, well, a good parent will punish their child, right?
Right.
But parents didn't understand what that meant. And when he opens his book with, I would get a belt and beat my dog up one side and down the other. Okay, you're telling me that's the example that you're giving. Right?
Right.
It's beating your dog. You're not saying, oh, I need to set some boundaries for my dog. Or maybe, first of all, how about some training for that dog?
Right.
With some treats and maybe some crate training for that dog instead of a belt and beating the dog's ass to get him in the crate.
Well, the religious right doesn't like that. And neither does the director or the head of ICE, Kristi Noem. She just shoots her dog in the face if it's disobedient.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean?
Did she do that?
Kristi Noem, yes. She wrote a book, like her biography. And in her biography, she was talking about her disobedient dog. And she was talking about the hard choices she's had to make. And how she took her dog out and shot it. It was a puppy. It lacked training. And it it was being disobedient and destructive. So instead of training up a child in the way it should go, instead of disciplining it with...
beat the shit out of it or shoot it in the face.
Right. Because she was undisciplined, right? I mean, because she was like, no, that's too much work. I'm not gonna bother.
It wouldn't
I'm
submit.
Just gonna dispatch this dog. Yeah. Yep.
Immediately. It would not submit immediately without any training.
Yes. Well, so, a couple weeks ago when we covered the South Park episode for the season opener for season 27, episode 2 was about Ice and Christy Gnome, and it shows her going into a pet store and shooting all the animals in the pet store, putting them all down. Yeah. So there's that. Anyway, so get around to watching South Park. Because yeah.
But you know what? Like we said, all of these people are the same. Mm-hmm. They're all the same.
They're like, let's use brute force.
Brute force.
To, instead of reasoning, logic, kindness, and, oh gosh, love and compassion. No, not that. That's ridiculous. Let's call in the National Guard to get all of the homeless people out of Washington, D.C., because now it's illegal to be homeless. And let's make it a police state and to clean up crime, get every single illegal out of Washington, D.C., and get all the homeless off the streets, and just brute force, not actually trying to help people, just trying to eliminate the problem by eliminating the people, not solve the underlying issue. So yeah, it all stems from the same.
It's all about power and control.
It is. Yeah. Thank you. That's correct. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, it's the foundation of hate groups. Yep. It's the foundation of just extremist rhetoric, politics. Yeah, it's scary.
Right.
So did you know this, Britt? Did you know this? And don't ask me too many questions because I don't know enough about it. But in 1989, James Dobson filmed a pre-execution interview with Ted Bundy, the serial killer.
Yes, I did know that.
Okay. Yay!
Of course I knew that. Yes.
Yeah, because he was trying to convert him before he went to, because
and he said he converted. Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Well, and that's a jewel in James's crown.
I know. I converted a serial killer. Mm-hmm. Yay!
That's a big one. That's a whole.
Oh yeah, because
whole mansion.
I know. Of course, here's Ted Bundy committing violence against women, and here's James Dobson committing violence against women.
So
yeah,
right.
So, but yeah. So apparently Dobson, Ted Bundy blamed his own violence on porn.
Ted Bundy did?
Porn. Yeah, he said it was the pornography.
Right, not to mention all of the domestic violence in his home life.
Right. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And the lack of nurturing replaced with corporal punishment instead. Yeah.
Corporal punishment, that his father beaten him or, maybe that. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, couldn't have been that. It was the porn. Made him kill all those women. I don't know.
You've done a lot of research.
Yeah.
On Dobson. I did just a little bit.
Okay,
because, I was trying to find some comic relief.
Okay.
Because,
what'd you do?
It's such a serious topic. I'm like, damn it, we need something funny.
I know. We just last episode we were like, we hate assholes.
I know, we gotta lighten it up. We gotta lighten it up. And then fucking James Dobson died.
I know, and now we had to go down that.
Yeah, so I Googled, James Dobson and funny stories and funny anecdotes, and ChatGPT came back and said, James Dobson is not a comical figure, and there are no funny anecdotes associated with this man.
That's amazing.
So,
you know what ChatGPT told me? It told me that James Dobson stirred up controversy over SpongeBob. So
that's not surprising.
Yeah. So he thought SpongeBob SquarePants was part of a gay agenda. He also thought Teletubbies was part of a gay agenda. Or is that...
yes. Because of the purple and the triangle and stuff.
Was that Dobson or was that Jerry Falwell? That might have been Jerry Falwell. Thought Teletubbies. I'm sure it was both of them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
Because I'm sure they just linked arms and skipped down their little, yellow brick road to focus on the family.
Well, listen, any children's show now that dares to use colors.
Ooh, especially all the colors of the rainbow. Ooh, don't be bright and colorful for the children. Things are black and white. Everything's black and white.
G. Biv here.
We don't even want gray. No grayscale because it's either black or it's white.
That's right. It's the gay agenda. That's those gays trying to push their agenda on our children. So
yep. They're trying to be like, woo, stare into this little TV on my belly.
Yes.
Fall into my now lower. That's it. That's the gay agenda.
That's right.
To sexualize our children through the Teletubbies.
I remember that because my son, who was the obsessed child, was obsessed with the Teletubbies. Okay. Yeah. And this was when we were in church. And I was like, our son is going to like whatever he likes. I don't care what any of y'all say. He loved baby dolls. Loved them.
Good.
He carried around baby dolls. He wanted a baby doll for Christmas. He loved the Teletubbies. And I remember when they were like, oh my God, it's purple. It's got the triangle, which is a symbol for the gays. And the one Teletubby carried around a purse. But it's obviously male. And like,
why was it obviously male? Was it dangling a dick? And I mean, why?
It had like a deeper voice and like,
even though all they did was mumble.
Well, the issue was that there were not clearly defined genders of these Teletubbies.
Well, that's so wrong. That's trans. That's like middle sex. No, we can't have any of that.
I mean, you're teaching children
non-binary.
Yes, it's very gender fluid or whatever, and they, they didn't like the ambiguity here. And I was like, I guarantee my son is not thinking about any of that.
Right.
And he just loves it. So y'all can fuck off with your agenda. I mean, I didn't ever hear the gays ever saying anything about the Teletubbies. It was always the religious people going crazy about how gay the Teletubbies were.
As far as I know, your child has not become a flaming homosexual.
No. No. Okay. He's very heterosexual and is very stable and an amazing young man.
Yeah. And even if he had,
that would have been fine.
And I doubt that he would point back to
Teletubbies
as the influencer over his sexuality. Right?
No, doubt it. Yeah. Although he did have his girlfriends once dressed him up in drag and he looked fabulous.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I bet he did. He's a handsome feller.
He
bet
is.
he'd be a handsome lady as well.
He was.
Nice. Okay.
Which James Dobson would have hated. He would have rolled over in his grave. Although he is freshly, if he's not even in the grave yet. He's probably not.
Oh, probably not.
He
They're
would
probably
have
still
rolled,
embalming him.
He would have rolled
Maybe
over
they're going to
in
freeze
his
dry him.
refrigerator.
In his refrigerator. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So, ding dong, the Dobson's dead, huh?
You know, I can be a compassionate person, and I know that James Dobson was loved and cared for by his family. He had children and grandchildren, and I will say I do not agree with what he did or taught or the books that he wrote. I think he did much harm to this planet. I think the legacy that he left behind is appalling. And yet, I'm sorry for his family and his children and his grandchildren, because I'm sure they are grieving. And
absolutely.
because you know what? We know what he did professionally, but we don't know what kind of a father and grandfather he was.
Right.
And
so
my condolences.
Mine as well. Okay, and now back to slamming him. So Dobson, through his books and all of his, child rearing stances and his radio program focused on the family. I don't know how long that radio program ran. Do you have any idea? I don't know.
I do not.
Long ass time. Where he really turned family values, quote unquote, family values, into like a political weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, he and Falwell and some others like him are the ones that really were the foundation for this, extremist right movement, the Christian nationalism. And
I think that, Falwell was awful.
Yes.
And we
so awful.
will talk about him.
Oh, we'll talk so much.
We're gonna. But I think that Dobson started out
well-meaning.
I think so. Like, as a child psychologist, I think in his belief in scripture and stuff, though, warped, I think that he didn't start political, really. I mean, it was more about helping parents to parent well, right? As a Christian.
It wasn't until like the late 80s, early 90s.
I think it was as he aged, which happens with a lot of men.
And really strongly in the 2000s when
as he started
became more political. Yeah.
Yes. He became very politicized. And I think as his power grew, right, he started becoming sucked into, presidents started calling on him and becoming more political. Then I think that it just went way off the rails. But I don't think that that's how it started for him. And
no,
that's really unfortunate.
It did not.
Yeah.
I mean, of course he didn't wield enough, he didn't wield enough influence at the time to influence politics, as he did later on. But yeah, I don't think he had a political agenda out of the gate. No.
Right. Well, even when my children were little and I was reading, bringing up boys and stuff like that, he wasn't even really big politically then.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until even later than that.
Well, I mean, definitely around the time of Obama, he became very outspoken. Calling Obama the abortion president and, talking about how Obama was leading the country to hell. And
he kind of went off the rails, but I mean that he was, he was becoming more extremist for sure.
Yep. So did you know, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier when we were talking about his books and his pro corporal punishment. So have you heard of blanket training? Blanket training a baby?
I have.
Okay.
Oh, we did this. Both of my children were blanket trained. Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And I actually loved it and still advocate for it.
Okay, you tell me what you...
But I probably didn't do it the way that he said to do it.
Okay,
so,
well, you tell me what your version of blanket training is, and then I'll tell you what I found in the research.
Let's flip that. You do yours first. What did they say? What did he say?
So in Dobson's Dare to Discipline, he said you place the baby on a blanket with a toy that the baby likes. And each time the baby reaches for the toy or attempts to get off the blanket, you smack the child.
Okay, no. Okay.
I was like, Brittany, what?
No, okay.
You're like, I advocate for that. I'm like, do you?
I mean, okay.
I'm thinking
okay, you smack the child, okay.
Yeah, you smack the child, basically breaking its will. You've got to learn that the baby's going to learn from before the baby can even reason, right? When a baby's brain is still running on animal instinct, I need to eat, I need to poop, I need to connect with a nurturing figure. The end. That's what babies do. Let's break its will to, I'm curious about the world and the environment around me. No, smack! What the fuck?
I remember that. I remember that there's a part in that, or it's either that or the other book that we read where they were talking about as an infant, like as long as they can hold their head up and a child is right here. And if they try to reach for your glasses, you would flick or whack their hand with something so that they don't grab your glasses or something. Yeah. So at a very early age, you are it's like giving the child pain from a very early age, so that he would say they don't associate the pain with you. They don't know you've done it, but they associate the pain with the glasses. So they don't reach for the glasses anymore, but you're giving the child pain.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I disagree with that.
Okay, well, what is it you are saying that you are an advocate of?
Okay, no,
you're like, not the pain. Did that. I think it's great.
No, okay. Not the pain, but the blanket training. The blanket training we did, and I really liked, and I do advocate for it. In fact, I do actually compare it to mindfulness a lot of the time about how the brain works, because I usually say the brain is a lot like a toddler. And that if you have a toddler who's sitting on a blanket and they're sitting there and you've got toys, you've got snacks, they're just sitting there.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're going to try to train that child to stay on a blanket. As soon as they get up and run off, you just lovingly pick them up and put them back on the blanket. And put them back on the
gently
blanket.
Back down. Yes.
Just like you would with your brain. When you're practicing mindfulness, you just lovingly bring it back.
Yes.
Lovingly bring your brain back to the present moment. Back to the present moment. Back to the present moment, right? And that's what you do with the toddler. Stay on the blanket. Stay on the blanket. Stay on the blanket. And eventually the toddler will get mad, and that's the little will. Cry. Wait a second. I don't want to be here on the blanket, right?
Right.
You don't hit them.
No.
You stay regulated. You don't get angry.
Right.
But you let them know you're going to be staying on the blanket. And eventually they go, I guess I'm staying on the damn blanket.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did with my child, is that
then they learn
taught them to stay on the blanket.
Right.
And I didn't get mad, but I did teach them you're going to be staying on the blanket. And I did love that. So I didn't use the whacking them and hitting them.
Okay. All right.
Just I stay regulated, but it's, you're going to be staying here. Right. And then I could go out and I would get my hair done with my my toddler sitting right next to me, looking at books and eating snacks and not running off. And people would go, how the hell is that happening? Yeah. Well, training, right? That is training your child. Just, I mean, and he talks about using, a belt to hit your dog. Right. You don't have to do that if the dog has been trained.
Go figure.
You don't have to do that if your child has been trained.
Correct.
As a child, Yes. I mean, it's a similar thing. And you don't have to hit the animal to make that happen. So if you're going to compare a child to an animal, there doesn't even have to be hitting involved, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, blanket training, very different.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 different versions of blanket training there.
Yeah. And so I do compare it to like when we're talking about mindfulness, that our brain can even be very similar that way. That like our brain needs to be trained to stay present too. And we're training our children's brains to do the same thing. So
love that.
But fuck James Dobson, that's not what he was talking about. He didn't understand that the rod didn't have to have, didn't have to have anything to do with it.
Right. So you know what I did?
Amazing.
I very distinctly remember, and I've apologized to my youngest child for it. But it came out of one of Dobson's books that I read, was when my infant was sitting in their high chair. So old enough to sit and like pick up their own food and self-feed a little bit in the high chair. If they threw food off the high chair, then we were to take a wooden spoon and smack their hand.
Yes.
So similar type thing, right? As this blanket training that he promoted.
Yep.
And so we did this with my youngest. And after just a few times, I mean, boy, oh boy, did it work, Brittany. It sure worked.
It worked.
With this child. Because after a short time, all we had to do is lift the spoon. And my child would just bury their head, like lay their head down on the tray. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And just kind of shut down. They would shut down, almost like playing possum. They were like, that's scary and I'm overwhelmed. And they would just lay their head down and shut out the world. Yeah. And then we would just keep the wooden spoon on the table near where my child was eating. And so we didn't even have to touch it. We could just point to it. And the child would shut down. So that's the way I trained my poor baby.
It worked.
And guess what? Guess how many years of therapy my child has been through to try to identify and process through their own emotions, because we made sure that they weren't allowed to feel or express any emotions except the ones we deemed appropriate for them. So,
right. Yeah.
Oh God, if I knew then what I know now, how differently I would have parented my sweet babies. And, but now there's a lot of damage to undo. And I hope that people, especially now that Dobson's gone, that parents start taking a more critical look at some of these things and listening to the actual science, the actual research behind it, and seeing how damaging these practices can be on children. And, that practices have already shifted, just not so much in Christian
religious circles.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. And if you have, and I always say this to parents, even if you have done these things in the past with your children, most of the time, like you and I, most of the time it was out of good intention, right? We wanted to do what was best. We wanted to raise up our kids in the way,
which is why I was reading the books in the first place.
Right. We're reading, trying to do its best.
To have
the
wisdom.
Experts.
Yes.
Right.
The experts. That's
the
right.
Experts, right? And so, I always say there's always time for repair.
Yeah.
Apologize. Go to your kids and say, damn, I got it wrong. I am so sorry I did that. I'm so sorry I disciplined you in that way, that I punished you, that I hit you, that I yelled at you and I screamed at you. And man, I know that you have the right to be angry at me or however you're feeling. And how can I support you and make it right? I mean, there's children. I have known adults whose parents are close to the deathbed, if not on the deathbed, who are like just would give anything for that, right?
Yeah, for their parent to apologize and
to say that
I treated you.
I
harshly.
Recognize it. And
I recognize that I did right. So
like a true apology. Yes,
I have taken reparative measures frequently with my children.
Yes.
I apologize for things they have no recollection. And I'm like,
they're like, so what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But,
but I'm like,
still sorry.
I know it still haunts me. I still carry that guilt. I've forgiven myself, but when I think about it, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe that was me.
Right.
And that I did those things to those sweet babies.
Yeah.
Out of good intention, but ignorance and a lack of compassion and trying to exact my exact control over my kids, because that's what's been done to me, and that's what I learned to do, and that's what was being preached in all the circles that I ran in. So
being deceived by a ding dong dob.
That's right, a ding dong dob.
So, all right. Well,
all right.
Okay, let us know what you think.
Rest in something, James Dobson. I hope he rests in peace, and I hope his family
makes some reparations.
Well, that would be nice.
Wakes up and starts to change some shit. How about that?
That'd be great if they apologized on his behalf, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and shut down the whole facility and started to change some things. Great, let's do that.
Yep. How about focus on Jesus? Focus on love.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Focus on compassion. That would be fabulous.
That's great idea. Okay. All right. Peace out.
Peace. Stay heretical, my friend.
Ow. Bye.
Bye.